Okay, so when it came to episode one of season two, I thought it would be really hard to kind of do something different. And that's why we start this episode with Howard King, who obviously we ended season one in our post-credit scene with, because I thought it would be quite cool to kind of open this whole story arc for the second season with a different character. So we're not with Morrison and Brown initially, we are with somebody else. And what this was really about was kind of tying Biosyn back into the legacy of these animals. You know, we know that obviously Dodgson was the person who put Nedry up to trying to steal the embryos in Jurassic Park. And really, what I wanted to do here was kind of make Biosyn more a part of that longer term story. So it was really exciting getting to write this and getting to take this story to Isla Sorna. I know that that island means so much to so many people in the community, so I really wanted to try and do it sort of justice, really pay homage to a lot of the storytelling that happens in the Lost World, Jurassic Park 3, and also Jurassic World Dominion. And I just love the idea that at some point in time, obviously we see certain stories unfolding on Sorna, but at some point in time, surely Biosyn would have wanted to investigate Jurassic Site B as well. And so that was a really, really fun sort of context to experiment with and really dive deeper into. And it also felt like a nice way to pay homage to the roots of this franchise. You know, at the end of the day, the story that we all love and enjoy is deep rooted in the history of international genetics and John Hammond. So taking it back to its roots was quite a nice way to kind of contextualize the fact that Tales is very much a story in the Jurassic Park universe. So obviously in this story, we spend an awful lot of time with Howard King. So to talk a little bit more about King, I thought it would be nice to introduce you to and catch up with Antonio Bustos, who is the person who voices Howard King. Okay, so episode one of season two of Tales from a Jurassic World sees a return to Isla Sorna, which obviously very, very exciting for people. And the person who is front and center in that story is Howard King, played by the wonderful Antonio here. So, Antonio, why don't you introduce yourself and tell people a little bit about yourself?
Sure. Hello, everyone. I'm Antonio Bustos, and I'm absolutely thrilled to be here. I'm a professional voice actor from Dallas, Fort Worth, Texas, and I've had the absolute pleasure of portraying Dr. Howard King in Tales from a Jurassic World. I also provide voiceover for commercials, dubbing, animation, and narrations. And I must say, Tom, it's been an incredible journey diving into this
Yeah.
character and exploring the universe of Tales from a Jurassic World.
Awesome. I really appreciate that, man. I remember I think I sent one of my friends a message about you when you got in touch, and I was like, this is so cool. A person who does audio recordings for a living wants to be involved in my project. So there was that discussion, which was fun. So when you took on this role of Howard King, were you already familiar with him from the novel?
Uh, Actually, when I first took on the role of Dr. Howard King, I was very familiar with him
Cool.
from the novel, The Lost World, the sequel to Jurassic Park by Michael Crichton.
Yeah.
In my opinion, Dr. King from the book was someone who was, who had experienced a massive failure in his professional life, but kept on going. And I'm certain
Yeah.
some of us have experienced, setbacks in our lives before. To me, he in the books, he was a good person who was willing to do anything to regain his credibility. Unfortunately, that meant, creating a partnership with the likes of Lewis Dodson.
Yeah, yeah, definitely a questionable partnership there. I think it's been interesting because I feel like our version of King is very different in the sense that he perhaps isn't as innocent as he is
Mm,
in the novel.
right.
So what did you think of the way your character was introduced in season one? Because in season one, you were basically the post-credit scene.
Oh, right. Yeah. Yeah. So I thought that introduction for the character was nothing short of awesome. I've always thought it would be cool to have this sort of after credits Marvel movie reveal. I think it was a clever way of saying, hold on, buckle up. This ride is just getting started.
Yeah, I think that's the thing for me is I grew up on Marvel films, right? So I'm so used to there being some kind of massive plot tease at the end of a film that then
Oh,
sets up what's coming. So for me that was like this character is coming, he's gonna be a force of nature, so we need to set the stage with him. Um so coming into season two, were you surprised that we kicked off with a story that had your character on Isla Sorna?
I was definitely taken aback by the storyline that placed my character on Isla Sorna. There was a moment of genuine concern when I thought, "Oh no, am I even going to make it out of this episode?"
Yeah.
Um, so, of course, this reaction was based on my knowledge of Dr. King's fate in the books.
Yeah.
Where he ultimately met his untimely demise on that island. So,
Yes, he did. He did indeed. So what do you think of the background of him being involved in these shady biosyn operations? Like, what do you imagine is going through the character's head?
well, on one hand, King's association with Biosyn, maybe suggests like a willingness to engage in morally ambiguous activities, for personal or professional gain. And I think this raises questions about his motivations and priorities, as well as his willingness to, navigate the often murky waters of corporate interests.
Yeah.
But on the other hand, King's involvement with Biosyn may be driven by a genuine desire to advance, scientific knowledge or achieve specific goals that he believes are beneficial. And his actions could stem from a sense of duty or loyalty to the organization, or perhaps a desire to redeem himself after his past failures or setbacks in his career.
It's interesting, isn't it? Because I think that Jurassic Park, especially, is so much about doing whatever it takes to kind of pursue science, even if it's massively negative. So I think that's kind of a core theme throughout the franchise, anyway.
Oh, sure. Yeah. We're all concerned whether or not if we could, but we didn't even bother asking whether or not we should, right?
Yeah, exactly. That's exactly it.
Right.
So are you excited for fans to get to know King a little bit more over the course of this season?
Oh, absolutely. I'm really excited for fans to delve deeper into Dr. King's character and get to know him more intimately over the course of the season. I believe there's so much more to discover about him. And I think audience will be intrigued by the complexities and nuances of his character.
Yeah, I think so. And I think on that note, is there anything you want to tease at all, Antonio?
Well, without giving too much away, I can tease that in season two, Dr. King and Bileson will definitely prove to be a thorn in the side of Agents Brown and Morrison, in a
Yeah.
way that will surprise and captivate the audience. I think there's going to be some unexpected twists, high stakes encounters, and plenty of dinosaur action to look forward to. So get ready.
Yeah, that's the perfect sales pitch. There we go. Antonio, thank you so much for catching up about episode one. This was a really fun one to work on.
Hey, it was my pleasure.
And if you've made it this far, it's only right to give you a teaser for what comes next. So here is a tale for season two, episode two, The Vow. I said here's a tale, here's a teaser. Here's a teaser for a tale. There was a sudden noise from behind him, and Morrison turned, realizing that the nearest Dimorphodon was now close enough to swipe down and attack them. He grimaced as the animal lunged at him, sending wooden chairs flying as he dived for cover. He was able to grab one and throw it at the animal, catching it as it was mid-air and sending it plunging towards the ground. He turned to see Lucy, who was quickly helping him up.
Come on, let's get inside.